morning, everybody. I know my background looks like it's like it's a backdrop, like it's fake. But let me show you. We have had a lot of snow over the last day. Fortunately, we got the leaves up before the snow came, and now we're dealing with our blizzard conditions. So if you are in Northern Illinois, then I, wish you good luck in getting through this weather. And if you're not, then I hope you can enjoy the beautiful snow. So my name is Rita Hickman. I'm a body-mind expert and a shiatsu massage therapist. And my specialty is helping coach women and get women on the right path. Hey, Alexis. To really being successful by feeling good, by understanding how their body works, their body-mind works. And I do it through Eastern medicine and shamanism. So today we're talking a little bit about anger, and we're also kicking off a week of juicing. I've been really excited. I've been working with my friend Julie Leask, who owns Garden to Glass Juicery, and because of the blizzard, she can't be on our interview today. But this week I'm starting a 5-week juice cleanse. Hey, Dina. And for me, a cleanse isn't necessarily a detoxing. It's where I'm going to be taking 2 juices a day that Julie makes for me to really nourish my body and get the things that I need, get the things that help me feel my best so I can really be successful in all of my goals, whether they be business or relationship or family or for you, maybe it's weight loss or stress or anxiety. Hey, Denise, whatever it may be, doing something like juicing to really get nourishment will take you to a higher level. But today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, which is anger. Now, for me, I had a hard time with anger most of my life. I was taught to be a good girl. I was taught to suppress my anger. We don't get angry. And once I got past that sort of fluff of what I was trained, that good girls don't get angry, I realized that getting angry is still a tool. It's something that I can use, but it's not something that I want to have out of control. So many times I want to be able to clear anger as fast as possible, because if I don't, then those emotions, that felt sense, starts to hijack my day. And I can't get anything done because I'm too busy being angry. Hey, Janae, nice to see you. It's my sister, and Michelle's here too. So I was someone, because of all of my triggers and all of my past, I would get angry really, really fast, and then I would shove it down and suppress it. Now, the problem with that is it starts to turn into health issues. Hey, Anne Louise. For me, it turned into digestive issues. For other people, it can turn into liver problems. Hey, Ian. It can turn into heart problems. It can turn into back problems. Because when we take the chemicals of emotion, like anger, which are really strong chemicals, and we suppress them and we push them down, then they're still stored in the body. And what happens is we start to create a toxic environment in our body, and we will get sick. It'll turn into autoimmune disease. It may encourage the growth of cancers and illnesses. Hey, Carrie, good to see you. We all know this. But the problem is we haven't figured out our way of how to clear anger fast. Not so that we're zen and perfect and amazing, but so that we can use the emotion of anger as a tool that gets us where we're going. So one of the positive things about learning to clear anger fast is because once you actually clear anger, once you process through it, then it will never bother you to that degree again. If you've been stuffing and suppressing your emotions and suppressing your anger for a long time because of life, hey, Joy, then when we ignore it and we push through it, it will turn into bigger and bigger and bigger issues. So the key is to learn how to clear it fast and to learn to, so that it doesn't keep bothering you for the rest of your life. It keeps dialing down and it keeps spiraling down. So I'm going to give you my 5-step trick for how I clear anger, because I had to get really good at this because I had so much anger that was inside of me. And I really started to address it when I was 30, and I've perfected it over the last 16, 17 years of how do you clear anger fast so it doesn't ruin your day. It doesn't hijack you, it doesn't get in the way of your success, it doesn't waste your time, and it doesn't waste your really valuable me time, which is what all of us need to be our highest version of ourselves. So, okay, first of all, let's look at anger as a chemical. Anger is a chemical that your body releases into your system, and it causes a lot of different physical sensations. So you may experience anger as that your brain won't shut off, that it keeps spinning around the same 4 or 5 thoughts. Maybe you experience anger in your stomach, which is where I tend to experience it. You may experience it in a different part of your body, maybe your throat or your heart or your head or your root chakra. You may experience that anger and feel that anger in different parts of your body. And where you'll feel it most is where you are most congested, most blocked up. It's the issue that you have the biggest problem with, which is where in your body you're going to be congested. So mine was power, and so mine was digestion for a long time. So because power was my block, that's where all of those chemicals would settle. That's where they wouldn't be able to clear and flow through. That's where they'd get stuck. And it would turn into all sorts of digestive issues for me. So, okay, so let's say you had Thanksgiving and Christmas is coming up. And somebody says something that takes you all the way back to when you were a kid. They did the same thing, it triggered you again, and you're right back in the middle of it. The first thing that I do is I tell myself, you know what? Now is not the right time to express this, to deal with this, because I'm not in my right mind. When we get triggered, we're actually in a space of fight or flight, and we are in our limbic system. We're in our amygdala. We're not in our rational mind where we can make a good decision that moves us forward. So the first thing you need to do sometimes is, if you're in the middle of something, is to reassure yourself and tell yourself that, hey, you know what? I am going to deal with this later. I'm not shoving it down for good. I'm not letting it go. I'm not detaching. I'm not, disrespecting myself. Instead, I'm just going to put it off until it's a good time to clear it. And that's step number 1. The way to clear anger fast is to put yourself into a safe place first. A place where if you're feeling something or experience something, that it's not going to come back and smack you in the face later. It's not going to land you in jail. It's not going to ruin your relationships. It's not going to do any of that stuff. So I reassure myself and say, you know what? Now might not be the right time, but we will deal with this tonight, or we will deal with it tomorrow morning. After I do that, after I let myself know that I respect myself and I love myself enough and I love my feelings enough that I'll deal with them, usually it can, give you a little bit of a buffer zone until you have that safe space. So I take time every morning and I clear my emotions. And so any anger that I had, any frustration or anxiety that I had from the day before or that's been building up, is my time to clear my emotions. Now, some people might worry. They're like, if I let myself be angry, if I let myself think the angry thoughts that I have, then I'll never be able to get out of it. I'm going to spiral down. This is why I turn my anger clearing into a little bit of a ritual. I keep things around me, which I know that when I've decided, okay, my time's up for now, I've given it the 15 minutes or the 20 minutes that I have that I can pull myself out. I keep things around me. I keep music. I keep something that I can taste that tastes good. I keep something that I can smell that smells good. I keep things around that I know will pull me out should I need to be pulled out, so that I don't spiral down and ruin my entire day. I also keep water next to my bed, because water is one of the best ways to clear out those chemicals of emotion. Because if we, stuff them down for forever, then remember, they're chemicals. We need to pee them out. We need to sweat them out. We need to cry them out. We need to breathe them out. We need to move the chemicals through our body. And so water is a wonderful way to do that. Water, and then the deep breathing thing. where you take those deep breaths down into your abdomen. Maybe you hold it for a few seconds and you release. Hey, Sandra, good to see you. So in the morning, I create a safe space by having things that will pull me out, things that will make me feel good, not somebody around that's gonna, pull me out of it. So that's my safe inner space and my safe outer space. The next thing that I do is I let myself experience that anger. Because if you ignore it, then it's just, as I said, going to end up absorbed into one of your organs, absorbed into your tissues, and turn into something that makes you sick and in a lot of pain. So instead, I acknowledge how I feel. Your body doesn't know the difference between something that you imagine and something you actually do out in the real world. So if you let yourself re-experience what happened to you and say the things that you wanted to say, almost like armchair quarterbacking, without any judgmentalism, without anything. If you let yourself say, you know what, that made me really angry when you said this, you disrespected me, I don't want to have anything to do with you ever again, I'm not going to allow you to do this to me anymore. Say those things in your head. Let yourself say them. Let yourself express them. Because your body doesn't know the difference. And you will know, you will feel like you finally respected and honored, where you were at. So you can clear part of that energy just by letting yourself express it. Be safe enough to feel it and express it. Now, if you're noticing your thoughts are getting into, you so-and-so, I can't believe you did this to me, and you're noticing that you're spiraling around and around and around, the next thing you do is you remind yourself that you're clearing. So when I'm in the middle of an emotion, of a strong, angry emotion, instead of, I'll let myself do I can't believe you did this to me, I don't want this to happen again, the next step is to remind yourself over and over that you're clearing, so that you can be present with how you feel without pushing it away, without denying it or saying, I need to just think happy thoughts. I just need to be in a mantra, something good, because bad thoughts bring bad things. Let yourself be in where you feel it and remind yourself over and over, that's the mantra. Hey, Mary, the mantra is, I'm clearing, this is clearing, this is clearing, this is clearing. Let yourself think that and feel it. Because when you lock down a part of your body, let's say your abdomen, where it's getting stuck and making you feel so angry, when you don't let yourself be in it, the blood vessels narrow down. And because the blood vessels narrow down, the chemicals never move out. You don't pee them out or sweat them out or cry them out or breathe them out. It doesn't happen. So you have to let yourself be in the moment and be in that emotion. And trust me, if you let yourself be with it, it will start to clear. Because when you're stressed about it, when you're judging it, all those blood vessels narrow and there's no blood and lymph getting in there to move the chemicals out. But if you let yourself be present with it, then finally it can do that. Now for me, I've got old issues. And because of my old issues, I can't always help not locking up my stomach. It just locks up. My nervous system just locks up. So the next thing you do is a little bit of energy work on yourself. In Eastern medicine, energy work is, energy is everything. Energy is the carpet and the chair and your blood and your lymph and your thoughts. Energy is everything that exists. So energy work is where you're choosing to direct the flow of your energy, direct the flow of your blood or your nervous system signals or your lymph. Now, if you feel blocked in an area, you're sitting there, you're angry, notice where you feel it. For me, it's typically right underneath my diaphragm. Wherever you feel it, I want you to just rest your hands there. Now, this is the one that most people don't realize works really well. They try it, they say this isn't working, and they give it up. In reality, when you rest your hand and do energy work on something, you need to give it a little bit of time. Have you ever noticed that if you go to an acupuncture appointment, they make you lay there for like an hour? The reason being is because the body needs a little bit of time to respond to it. So when you rest your hand, let's say for me, on my abdomen, and I leave it there, I can be thinking all the same thoughts. I can be like, this is clearing, or you so-and-so, I can't believe you did this to me, I feel disrespected. You can be doing all of that in your head, and being present with it, and just resting your hand wherever you're uncomfortable. Because guess what that does? Wherever you put pressure, and it doesn't have to be a lot of pressure, it can just be resting your hand just comfortably, as if you were resting it on your knee. No big deal, okay? Wherever you put your physical attention is where your body says, hey, what's going on? And it opens up the blood vessels, and it starts to send more blood and more lymph to that area. So if you rest your hand wherever it's uncomfortable when you're angry, and you give it at least a half an hour, you'll notice a couple things. One, you'll notice that it's starting to get warmer. You'll start to feel more heat coming off of it. That's good. It means that you're finally getting a flow through there so the anger chemicals can clear out so that they aren't stuck and causing you digestive problems. So you'll start to feel that heat because more blood is going there and the blood vessels are more open. You'll also, after a little while, start to feel a pulse. That's good too. The pulse is the pulse of your body. It's your heartbeat. It's the pulse of flow through your body. So you'll feel a pulse. And maybe it'll start out weak because it's like a dam in a river, where it can hardly get, the water through the hole in the dam. But the longer you hold it there, the pulse will get stronger. The pulse will get more regular. And that pulse is the river flowing through that area again and flushing out that anger, flushing out the emotion that's getting stuck there. Okay? So you want to feel for that pulse. You may get a couple other fun side effects. One, you may feel like crying because guess what? Those chemicals that have been stored in your stomach or your liver or your kidneys or your throat or your hip or your knee, wherever you've been storing them, they're still emotion chemicals and they're going into your bloodstream. So you're going to feel things like you want to cry. That's good because it means that you're flushing the chemicals out of your system through your tears. Hey, Ailette, nice to see you. You may notice that you start sweating in the area. It'll be sweaty underneath your hand and on your body. That's good because it means that your body is sweating those anger chemicals out. Stuff that could be going back decades in your life that you've been storing up, even into the womb, because we would have responded to our mother's chemical reactions to things. So these are chemicals that might have been stored for forever and have been causing you problems. You're detoxing yourself when you do this. So you may notice that there's a little bit of sweating. So you may notice that you get a taste in your mouth. You may notice that you get a felt sensation someplace else in your body. This is all good because what it means is your body is finally flushing the chemicals which are causing you to trigger quickly. This is that forever part. When I said you can clear this for forever, it's because you've been storing it for a long time. And once it's cleared, once it's sweated out, that chemical is out of your body for good. Okay? So you want to sweat it out, you want to cry it out, you want to pee it out. Maybe you find out that you have to pee. You want to have that taste in your mouth because it's coming out in your saliva. And maybe you're feeling it in someplace else because you'll feel it in the next place where you have a block, where you've been storing these chemicals. Okay? So you'll be like, well, my stomach feels better, but now I'm feeling it in my heart. Cool. That's good. It means that you've cleared one of the blocks. And now if you want, you can work on your heart. Typically, I'll give myself in the morning every day I'll give myself about a half an hour or longer to do any sort of clearing that I need to do. And it gets easier every day. So once you've noticed that you've got the pulse, you've got the heat, maybe a taste in your mouth, maybe your mouth gets dry, maybe you're sweating, you're noticing these things, then stick with it. And you'll notice that it'll start to dial down. It'll start to calm down and even out. That's good. And you'll get out of your amygdala. You'll get out of that anger and that fight or flight and protection. And you'll get back into your frontal lobe where you have a rational mind. So this is an important part. Now that you're back in your rational mind, you need to give yourself time to process through it, to notice what thoughts and feelings came up and think about it. Because when we have trauma or an issue in our life, we compartmentalize it and we protect it. The blood vessels around it kind of close off. Our nervous system will bypass it. Wherever we're uncomfortable, our body says, oh, you want me to ignore this? Okay, and it does. We have to take that old emotion and that old belief or idea that came up and integrate it with who we are now, because we're not 2 anymore. We're not 5, we're not 8, we're not 20 when that thing happened. And we have to take the wisdom and the maturity that we've developed that we normally have when we're in our rational mind, and we have to integrate that thing that happened, that anger that happened, with who we are now, with the mature adult human being that we are. So you have to give it that little bit of time to process through and reconnect the wires, between the part of you that you locked down and locked off with the rest of you. So it can start to, you become bigger. When people talk about self-actualization, they don't mean that you change into somebody different. What they mean is you become a bigger version of yourself. It doesn't get rid of the pain. It doesn't get rid of the trauma or the injury or the wound that you have. What it does is it integrates it. It makes it bigger so that you can see it from a perspective, from that distance, almost like a hawk in the sky looking down onto the problem. You now have perspective. Some people like to do it by looking at what happened as if it's a black and white movie. That's one way to help process through it and give yourself a little bit of distance. So you can replay the thing that triggered you. You absolutely can. And the thing that you wanted to say and you should have said, you get to replay it. And this time when you replay it, the emotions dialed down because you just did that energy work. You gave yourself a safe space. You just did the energy work. You gave yourself, you honored how you felt. So now you can integrate it and say, wow, what happened there? This comes from blah, 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 from my mother or my father, or when this trauma happened to me or this injury happened. Once you integrate something, once you start bringing it back into the bigger version of who you are, it will no longer bother you at the same degree. It's only when we make things secret and we cut things off and deny them the love and compassion and care, and we ostracize them, that they become real problems. But when we integrate them, when we think about them, look at them from a compassionate point of view, now they become welcome parts of us that we want to have. Now the last step is you want to decide what you want to do next. You know what, let's say the next time that this person says that thing, first of all, you're not going to trigger as much, which is good, thank God, right? Because then you can make a rational choice, and you want to come up with your game plan. The next time this person does X, Y, Z, this is how I want to respond. Now, why don't you think about that at the very beginning? When you first have anger, you wish you could, right? You wish you could just bypass all this stuff and be like, why can't I just be a rational, strong, capable self that stands up for myself? That's because when you're angry, you're in that fight or flight. You're not in your right mind. You're only able to come up with a good game plan after you've cleared some of this anger, after you've cleared the energy and it's flushed out of your system a little bit, okay? So you come up with, the next time this happens, this is how I want to handle it. Because you know it's going to happen again. That same person's going to do that same thing, or somebody similar to them, or that metaphor is going to come up and you're going to feel like a loser or a failure, or that they're attacking you, or that everybody's out to get you, whatever it may be. You're going to re-experience that, but this time you'll have a game plan. I like to have a script sometimes. One of my scripts is, thank you for telling me how you feel. I certainly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And then I leave. Sometimes my script is, you know what? When you feel better, please feel comfortable talking to me. Right now, this isn't a good space for either one of us. Or another script may be, you know what? I'm going to back off for a little bit. This doesn't seem to be working until we're both into a better space. So I come up with a script. I don't just, ignore that I'm angry and hope it goes away and detach from it and shove it down and distract myself with things. Instead, I come up with a game plan, because now, remember, I'm in my rational mind. And the game plan, is whatever you feel is in your best interest. Sometimes it may be to express that anger, to say, you know what, when you do this, it makes me very angry and I'm going to ask you to stop. And if you don't stop, I'm going to have to leave. Sometimes that's your game plan. Anger isn't a bad thing. It's just a really good tool that you want to get control over again. You don't want to just let it hijack you like it's been. So you come up with your game plan. Then when you're done, if you aren't in a much better space, and you should be by now, because you've cleared the energy, you've come up with a game plan, you've loved and respected yourself, you should actually be in a good space. Then you can get up and get on with your day. And you'll notice that it didn't hijack 24 or 48 or 72 hours. It didn't hijack your time. Instead, you took an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, or a half hour every morning to clear it and get back on that good path. Now, what's the benefit of doing this? I know it seems like a lot of time on the front end. Like, I don't have time every morning to do this. You know what? You don't not have time to do this. Because if you don't, it's going to turn into an illness. It's going to turn into an overreaction that now you have to spend an enormous amount of time fixing the relationship or healing the relationship or apologizing. And once again, that whole victimizer thing that's going on, okay? So if you give yourself time to do this, it will cease to be a big problem in your life. Every time you do it, the next time will be a little bit easier and a little bit easier until you're able to clear it quick, move on with your life, and get back on track to fulfilling your dreams and being the highest version of yourself and enjoying your life and taking your me time, your nourished time back. So if you don't do this, it's going to create bigger problems in the future, and maybe you're starting to notice that. Okay? So quickly, the 5-step process: give yourself a safe space, let yourself be present to it and experience it. Do some energy work on it by resting your hand or a warm stone or something else on the place that you're holding it. Hold it long enough so that you get a chemical release from it. And then come up with your game plan for what you want to do with it next. So I've gotten to the point in my life that one of the ways I give myself a safe space is by having a lot of nourishment and hydration around me. Because if my inner world is stressed, then it just magnifies everything that I feel, including anger. So when I do things like a week of juicing that I'm going to do with Julie this whole week, she's going to be making all sorts of wonderful, nourishing things for me. When you do that, when you're physically in a good space, then your emotions are not so overwhelming and powerful and hijacking, okay? So remember, safe space, honor, love, and respect it, do some energy work on it, and problem solve it, and come up with a game plan. I would love to hear how this is working for you. And if you get stuck, just message me. We'll, have a free clarity call and see if I can help you on any other areas in your life, including, really growing your business, jump-starting it, client attraction, or even more personal issues like dealing with cancer or grief or strong relationship issues or divorce or mental health issues. When you work on both of them, then you're able to be the highest version of yourself. Growing your business isn't just numbers and having the right, hey Kellyanne, and having the right, funnel or the right copy. It's about being the highest version of yourself within yourself. It's about feeling as good as you can. And when you do that, when you do things like clear your anger and nourish yourself, that's when you're really successful in life. And you stop feeling like you're stuck and that you're always going to be doing this and you're never going to get forward, okay? So like, love, comment on other people's comments. Let me know how this is working for you, and let me know some of the challenges you're working on, because we're all in this together, okay? So I hope you have a great day. I'm going to enjoy the snow today. I have a busy afternoon, and thanks so much for being here. I'll talk to you later. Bye.